Right, kind of a fur here. There you go. All right, everybody. Hello, everybody. Yes, it's your good friend Possible here, and I cannot figure out how to work my computer, but I brought Bucky with me.
Hello.
And Joe.
How's it going?
And you know what that means. If it's Wednesday, or even if it's before Wednesday, it's time for the next batch, which we don't have a title for. Oops, okay.
I blame the editor.
We don't have an editor. We just make these things as we go.
Okay, it looks like he's not powerful. He's just the great pause right now.
Yeah.
No, it's the great and powerful pause, but that's not here nor there.
Great or powerful?
Oh, God, I don't know. But here we are. We've got the Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is back in Wolverine. I have to admit, when I've seen the trailers for this, I'm a little confused. Because I was thinking that the Wolverine would be the sequel to Wolverine. But this one has Famke Janka in it. Obviously, it's Jean Grey. He's obviously
Jensen.
Her too. He's obviously very upset about her death, and so this is obviously after X-Men 3 Last Stand, and I was taken back by that because I was hoping to see a movie where we would see like how he learned, first off how he even got to Japan, because here's a guy who wakes up in New York with Long Island after a big explosion, having no memory of who he is, and yet he's able to travel to Japan, allegedly, because he was in a bar, because somehow he got some money, and he got...
Right, you saw the end credits of X-Men Origin the Wolverine.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's in Japan. He doesn't know how he got there, but...
No, I think he knew how he got there. He just... I don't know how he got there. He learned how to travel.
Maybe it's not important how he got there.
He got a visa. Well, I would like to go to Japan sometime, but I just can't wander around into Japan.
Well, when you get adamantium claws, you can go.
I had to wait that long?
Yes.
A whole month?
Okay. And regeneration skills.
Oh, it's going to take at least another week.
Okay, I'll see you in a month and a week.
No, you won't. I'll be in Japan. So what are you thinking? All right.
Okay, but your jokes are actually gone from a 0 to a 1.
There we go. Okay, so here we are. But this is Wolverine. He's in Japan now, and I like what you said earlier before we started taping. Is how this is going to be a tie-in with the next movie, which is Days of Future Past. You know what's ironic? Days of Future Past is the reason I stopped reading the X-Men books. Because I couldn't understand what the hell was going on anymore. I was like, okay, we're in the future, we're in the past. It's like, what the heck's going on?
Some people don't understand time travel.
It was too...
You probably got mixed up watching Back to the Future Part 2.
Oh, I love that movie. See, that was different because that one was concise. Remember, it's a comic book, so it's split up into different pages, and I didn't have all the pages, so I never got to solve the riddle. So, I know what you're thinking! Joe, go cut me a switch!
A switch of what?
No.
Cheesecloth?
All of Paus's pages are not there.
Yeah, so, but you know what? Personally, let's start with this. We didn't really get to do a review of Wolverine, the first one. I liked it. Bucky.
X-Men Origin Wolverine?
Yes.
I didn't care for it that much. Because I was expecting to get... I mean, I'm not sure if you remember X-Men's 1 and 2, but they flashed back to scenes from his past.
Right.
And I was expecting to see those scenes in X-Men Origin Wolverine.
A little bit better.
Exactly. So, because it showed him, with the... in the whole water thing getting fused with adamantium and whatnot.
Right.
But we didn't get that in X-Men Origin Wolverine, or at least not in a
movie. Because
right.
I just finished, again, the game, X-Men Origins, based on the movie, and it did tie in. It basically told the parts of the story that we didn't see in the movie.
Now, if I'm understanding this right, Wolverine, his regeneration skill is a mutagen. It's something he has as a mutant.
Right.
It's his mutant ability. The claws actually aren't his mutant ability.
So, if I'm understanding the trailer correctly, the old Japanese guy is able to take that away from him.
Exactly. That's the idea. He figures Wolverine has lived long enough, and he's ready to... He's trying to sell him on mortality, on being a regular person again.
Okay.
Type of thing. And I'm judging from this recent trailer that we saw, his true reason for taking his immortality is so that he can have it. Joe, what was your impression of Wolverine Origins? The first movie.
Actually, X-Men 1 was the first movie.
Well, I mean, the first movie of Wolverine.
I I have it. It was not that bad. Not one of my favorite X-Men ones. I actually think I liked the video game better than the movie.
Interesting. I see. Yeah, the one thing I did like about Wolverine was, I mean, it starts off. If you haven't figured out yet, there's this one book out. They made a comic book about his origin. Wolverine, his origin was a mystery for the longest time. He was introduced back in what, the 60s, 70s?
70s, I believe.
70s, and they kept his origin a secret.
74, I believe.
Yeah, 74.
Yeah.
You're right. I just saw that because he was introduced in the Hulk.
Right, Incredible Hulk number 181.
Oh, really? I thought he was in like the new X-Men type of
No,
thing.
he was someone who was supposed to go after the Hulk because of his regeneration ability.
Oh, okay.
And his, all of his
Right.
his power, he could stand up to the Hulk.
Right. I just remember the first time he met Xavier. Unlike what you see in X-Men First Class, Xavier had no problem recruiting Wolverine. Because Wolverine was getting tired of all the government red tape and all the rules and everything. So he says, come with us and we'll give you some action and everything. And he says, okay, Professor, let's go. And that's the first time I ever met the Wolverine. But, it took years, but in around the year 2000, past 2000, 30 years plus after his introduction, they finally released the origin of his story. And they told us, one of the mysteries of Wolverine was how old was he really? Because he could regenerate so quickly, his body healed, we had no notion how old he really was.
Right. One of the comic book rumors I remember hearing is that he may be even older than like 100 years old.
Right.
Yeah. And, they put him around well before pioneering times. He was born in Canada. Actually, they gave you and this is a small spoiler here, they give you the impression that the wife was actually sleeping with one of her servants. Like the gardener or something, and at one point the gardener kills the husband, and Wolverine gets upset, kills his real father, blaming him for killing his what he thought was his father. And what was interesting was the alteration, because as a child, Wolverine was always sick. That was the one thing they were saying. And here's this guy, his mutant power is to regenerate, and he's always healthy. But when we finally meet him in the movies, he, as a child, he's always sick. That's one thing they say about him. He's always sick.
X-Men Origin Wolverine, that was the gardener that was killed?
Right. That was his.
I don't think they ever really specified who that was in the movie.
No, they didn't. They do it in the comic books. In the movie, all you see is these the adults arguing, and eventually. You never get a sense of who's who,
Right, that's one thing that kind of bugged me about X-Men Origin Wolverine.
Right, and but then again, they really rushed it. I liked how they gave him the claws. He had the claws, but they weren't adamantium claws. They were just regular claws, and they were breakable.
Bone claws.
Yeah, and they were breakable. As his brother proved.
Sabretooth. Yeah,
but after he got his memory erased and. He now has to move forward. I was shocked that he's able to travel so much, He has no memory, but he's able to get a visa and everything and go to Japan. And that's where this gets confusing for me. Because, like I said in the beginning, I had the impression this was right after Wolverine. However, it would be before X-Men. Turns out this is after X-Men.
X-Men 3.
X-Men 3, thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is supposed to be about how he meets up with somebody he already knew. What's actually funny, you know what? Wolverine won't remember him. I just realized that.
Because of the adamantium bullet?
Yeah, they met this guy when he was in Japan during World War II in the 40s.
But it's a movie. They might find a way to write around it.
Right. Oh, that's true. Well, we'll see if they remember about this adamantium bullet thing.
Anything that can't be explained in a movie, either you're going to have to wait for the tie-in, the Days of Futures Past, or there's the old Dungeons and Dragons logic, a wizard did it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always these wizards. But you know what? I'm excited for this movie. It's got the ninjas, it's got the swords, it's got the Silver Samurai, it's got some good action, and it's got this mysterious lady who I have no idea who she is, but she has a very long tongue. I'll give you that. That said, I give it a see it. Joe, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I definitely want to see it. My biggest concern would probably be Silver Samurai because as a kid, I love the Silver Samurai. He just looks so big in this one, almost like he's a robot.
Wasn't he a robot?
I didn't think he was a robot in the old comic.
He looks like a robot in this.
But I just his size. Other than that, I'm excited to see the Wolverine.
I have a feeling that even though if it's a different director, it's still going to have the same. I'm guessing it's going to have the same results as X-Men Origin Wolverine. People are going to be so excited to see it, and they're going to have high expectations, and they're going to be disappointed.
That can be a concern.
But pretty much for a movie like Wolverine, you're not going to see it for the plot. You're going to see it for the action.
Exactly.
So I'm going to say see it, but I am going to. Odds are that I'm going to end up giving this movie a C. That is just a guess. But it's something. Well, I'm going to see it anyway for plot continuity because I want to see how they explain the things that need to be explained.
Exactly. And one last word of warning, kids. When you look at Wolverine's body, if you ever think I would like a body like that, the answer should be simply don't do it. Hugh Jackman actually came forward one time on the Jeff Pro show and told us how he got his body like this. The answer is, along with all the pumping iron and working out, in order to look like this, you have to first dehydrate yourself for like a day or two. And then when your body's like really thirsty and really dry, you drink a power aid, an energy drink, like Monster or something like that, right? And that will cause the veins to pop out and everything. The body is obviously very skinny and the musculars are showing because it's so thirsty. But let me tell you something. This gives you a big headache with the veins popping out like that. You dehydrate yourself, you drink some Monster, the veins pop out, and you can be you get a monster headache from something like that. That's not him screaming from anger. That's him screaming from pain, okay?
But that does bring up a good question.
Yes.
These people can hear you, but yet you're pointing at the screen.
Well,
they can't see you,
They can follow my finger with my voice. If they follow my voice, it'll lead to the finger, and the finger will show them what's pointing.
We did that for one of our first podcasts. He pointed us, we were doing a review, and he pointed a character on the comic book cover. And I was like, yeah, that one. And I've gotten over it, but he hasn't.
Yeah. So anyway, we definitely are looking forward to Wolverine. We're definitely hoping this will bug through kids. Let me tell you something. Man of Steel. Remember the review I gave on it? Ultimately, it didn't matter whether the movie was good or not. The movie had to succeed. And because of that success, they're making a world's finest. They're making a Man of Steel with Batman. Something we've all wanted to see for the longest time. Wolverine will lead us to the Days of Future Past. X-Men, Days of Future Past. And that will lead to more movies, i.e. if they're successful. I.e. no.
Yeah, or no, IE is for example.
For example, if they're successful, no.
And possibly team-ups.
And team-ups, yeah. I mean, we can get better movies, because one thing I would love to see is crossovers.
Right, I would love to see a crossover movie going back to Wolverine's first days. Have him meet the Incredible Hulk. Are you hearing this, Mark Ruffalo? We would like to see a crossover movie. Wolverine and Hulk have been like one of the most iconic battle scenes in comic books.
And you know what? Hugh Jackman has expressed interest in being in an Avengers movie. He wanted that.
I want to see that. Avengers versus X-Men.
An Avengers
that
versus
would be
X-Men?
an interesting choice too.
I want to get into that comic book series.
No, guys, we're thinking too small. You want to go big? Let's go Secret Wars.
Well, let's start with just the simple idea of crossovers.
You know, it's funny. As successful as Marvel has been, it looks like they've done the team up, but it looks like DC is going to be the first one to successfully do a crossover.
True.
So,
however, it's not who does it first; it's who does it best.
Well, who can do it
Because
better?
let me put it this way: for the hype on superhero movies that I've seen, one of the biggest wants in comic book movies, is Spider-Man to appear in an Avengers movie. And I don't mean Avengers as in the team. I mean either an Iron Man or the Incredible Hulk or something. But the thing is, obviously, different studios, different rights. So unless they can come to an agreement, we're not going to see it anytime soon.
But there are hints, of course. Remember when Avengers came out, then came out Amazing Spider-Man, and in Amazing Spider-Man, there's a lot of construction going on in New York. I think the people are saying they're doing all this construction because of what happened in
Yeah, that's
the
what
Avengers.
I brought that point up where
Yeah.
it was just like a joke, but it was like it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that was one thing that confused me when I first saw Spider-Man. I saw that, they got all these construction crews to help him. And it's like, why are there so many construction crews
Why
down
are
in this?
all these cranes on?
Yeah, why are all these
buildings?
cranes doing here? It's like, oh, okay. And then you said that. It's like,
Now,
oh, maybe that's it.
It would be funny. I mean, the thing is, I never caught on to that. But maybe I would have if they were with Stark Construction or something like that. Then obviously it would have clicked or
What
something.
the heck is Stark Construction?
Tony Stark.
But he doesn't do construction. He does weapon development. Actually,
But
what is-
he has a whole bunch of companies, though.
But what does he do now? Didn't he stop doing weapons development?
Well, his house kind of got blown up. So
Yeah.
For those that haven't seen Iron Man 3, sorry for
Oh,
the spoiler.
spoiler.
They could have really screwed the audience up and had Wayne Enterprises on the side.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you
Let's
go.
just okay. So what's the next movie? You know what? We have high hopes for this one. This one, not so much, because if you guys know me, and I'm sure you do by now,
Oh, I known you for a long time.
romantic comedies are not my deal. Even though some will say this is not a romantic comedy.
It's not a romantic comedy.
To me, it does not look like a romantic
It's
comedy.
about a
It's a
girl who
comedy.
wants to get laid.
And what about that is romantic? Romantic has to do with going on dates and forming
Yeah,
a
it's
relationship.
Emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going with straight bonking, it's a comedy.
Well, okay,
Exactly.
this is not Animal House.
Was American Pie a romantic comedy?
I thought so.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, you need to redefine romantic comedy.
You know what? I won't lie. Okay, you are correct. I do have an extremely broad definition of, and for you who don't see, I'm taking my fingers, touching them together, and then moving them apart. I have a broad definition of romantic comedy. If I just see a comedy, it's going to be a romantic comedy.
Did you hear
and-
that, ladies? He's sexist against you. He's calling you all broads.
No, I did not say they were broad. I said I have a wide definition of romantic comedy. I see a comedy, I immediately link romantic comedy.
So as long as a female's in a comedy, it's a romantic comedy.
Okay, show me a comedy that doesn't have a female in it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a little too broad, because let's face it, even Thor is going to have romance in it, but it's going to be a romantic adventure between
It's a romantic
Thor
action.
and
Jane.
Goodall, or
Jane.
not Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall. That's the monkey lady.
She's gonna be the Thor.
Well, I hope so now. What's her name?
Wow.
Wait, Thor and Jane. Who's
Foster.
Foster. Oh wait, that was gonna be Foster. As you can tell, we've been going a little bit too long here today. We're all sober, believe it or not. All right.
Now, to say a famous quote from the early '90s.
And once again, Bucky's doing a hand gesture to his chest.
Okay.
There's a difference, though.
Yeah,
I know they can't see me do that. Besides, duh is just duh.
Yeah, and besides, okay, how about this? I'll go 90s. Not! Okay.
But still, this movie does look interesting from the fact that they have a trapper keeper on the poster for the movie.
Oh,
I'm
I love
hoping
trapper
it
keepers.
is set in
You know-
the 80s or early 90s.
You would expect it to, because you saw no real iPhones or cell phones, like
What's an
modern
iPhone?
modern technology.
Okay.
But I really don't get a sense of when this is set in. It's one of those like timeless stories type of thing. It's got a female director to it. Here's my ultimate problem, and I'm hoping I'm wrong about this because you mentioned something about it. But when it comes to this movie, even though it's a rated R, it looks like it's a very soft rated R. I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts we're not going to see anything. The only reason it's got an R because of dialogue. But and you know what though? Ultimately, it comes down to the trailer. I've seen the trailer. I didn't laugh, and that's a big deal for me. So comedies are on the outs with me. I got to give this one a pass. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Well,
what are
the
your
thing
opinions?
is,
Yeah.
you got to understand, Plausible doesn't find anything funny. So
Except for myself.
who's not funny at all.
Hey!
But after Bucky here, just so you know, I saw the trailer. I thought it was humorous. And of course, I'm not sure how Plausible feels about this, but the main star is very attractive.
Oh, I find her very attractive also.
And so, I mean, I may see it just based on that. She's been in maybe one other movie I haven't seen. So this is going to be my first impression of her. And from what I've seen in the trailer, okay, first of all, a little thing on me is that I do like girls with nerdy looks. I do like the way she looked in the trailers when she had glasses on, when she had the dorky look. That worked for me. I would love to see her in that in the movie. And just the fact that she's spending the movie trying to get laid and whatnot, it's not a romantic comedy.
Joe, what's your opinion?
I really I like the trailer. I do want to give this movie a shot.
Oh yeah, by the way, I'm saying see it.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I think
Okay.
Paz is the odd man out here.
Yeah, well, I mean
I was surprised in the trailer to see Rachel Bilson. I haven't seen her in a movie since Jumper, and that came out like 4 or 5 years ago.
more than that, actually.
Really?
Yeah, that was right after. That's like whoever Anakin Skywalker was.
Hayden Christensen.
Him too. And that was his movie after Star Wars. So, but you know what? I will have to warn you, Bucky. I do think you're going to be set up for disappointment because she's got the nerdy look in the beginning, but because she wants to get the guy, she's going to take that off. She's going to try to look more.
So she's
just
going to
regular.
basically Princess Diaries throughout the movie.
Yeah, something like that. I'm willing to bet dollars to do it, but we'll see. We'll
she
see.
looks good in both looks, by the way.
Right. Now, ultimately, you got to remember one thing, and I got to say this in such a way that doesn't make it sound too bad, but here's the deal. This movie worries me because I believe it's going to be a soft R. It's just going to tease. You're not going to get any payoff, if you know what I mean. So I hope I'm wrong about that, but we shall see. We shall see. In the meantime, that's all we have for what's coming out in theaters real soon. And why the releases. I hope you guys enjoy yourself this weekend. The summer is winding down already. Can you believe it? There's some schools here in Chandler. They already started school on Monday, the 22nd. So,
Yep.
But either way, guys, I hope you enjoy yourselves. Take care. We'll see you later.
Be seeing you.
Bye.